Execution set for Moises Sandoval Mendoza for 2004 murder. The wheels of justice continue to turn, often grinding slowly but inexorably. In a case that has haunted Collin County, Texas, for 2 decades, an execution date has been set for Moises Sandoval Mendoza. He was convicted of the brutal 2004 murder of Rachelle Tolleson, a young mother whose life was tragically cut short. Give a like and subscribe. Leave a comment. Moises Sandoval Mendoza is scheduled to be executed on April 23, 2025, at the Huntsville Unit, a prison synonymous with capital punishment in Texas. This date marks the culmination of a lengthy legal process following his conviction for the heinous murder of Rachelle Tolleson. A Collin County judge officially signed the execution order, setting in motion the final stages of Mendoza's legal journey. This order signifies that the state has exhausted all avenues for appeal and is prepared to carry out the sentence imposed by the court. Mendoza's legal team has pursued numerous appeals over the years, seeking to overturn his conviction or commute his sentence. However, these efforts have been unsuccessful, with courts consistently upholding the original verdict and sentence. In March 2004, the life of Rachelle Tolleson, a young mother, was brutally extinguished. Her body was discovered, marking the beginning of a harrowing investigation that would ultimately lead to the conviction of Moises Sandoval Mendoza. Mendoza confessed to the crime, providing a chilling account of the events that transpired. His confession detailed the horrific acts he committed against Tolleson, leaving no room for doubt about his guilt. The details of the crime are particularly disturbing. Mendoza strangled Tolleson, sexually assaulted her, and then burned her body in an attempt to conceal the evidence of his heinous acts. Adding to the tragedy, Tolleson's 5-month-old daughter was found alone at home, a silent witness to the horror that had unfolded. The image of the abandoned infant underscores the profound loss and devastation caused by Mendoza's actions. Rachelle Tolleson was last seen leaving her parents' home with her 5-month-old daughter shortly before 10 p.m. on Wednesday, March 17, 2004. This seemingly ordinary departure marked the beginning of a nightmare that would forever alter the lives of her family and community. When Rachelle's mother went to check on her the next morning, she found Rachelle's car in the driveway, her bedroom in shambles, and her baby on the bed, cold, wet, and alone. This discovery painted a grim picture of the violence that had occurred and the vulnerability of the young child left behind. The trial of Moises Sandoval Mendoza presented a compelling case built on both circumstantial and direct evidence. The prosecution meticulously pieced together the events leading up to Tolleson's murder, painting a clear picture of Mendoza's guilt. Evidence revealed that Mendoza and Tolleson had attended a party together shortly before the murder. This established a connection between the two and placed Mendoza in close proximity to the victim in the hours leading up to her death. Further testimony indicated that Tolleson had confided in a friend that she had no romantic interest in Mendoza. This detail suggested a possible motive for the crime, highlighting Mendoza's potential frustration and rejection. After the murder, Mendoza took steps to conceal his involvement. He moved Tolleson's body to a remote location in an attempt to avoid detection and evade law enforcement. In a further attempt to cover his tracks, he set the body on fire. This act of desecration underscored the brutality of the crime and Mendoza's callous disregard for human life. Despite his efforts, the body was discovered days later. The advanced state of decomposition made identification challenging, but investigators were eventually able to identify Tolleson through dental records. The medical examiner's report provided crucial evidence about the cause of death. The report identified bruises at several different points on her body, evidence of strangulation or another form of asphyxiation, and a knife wound that penetrated her neck all the way to her spinal column. The most damning evidence against Mendoza was his own confession to police after his arrest. In a detailed and chilling account, he admitted to the crime and provided specifics about the events that transpired. He admitted to meeting Tolleson outside her home on the night of the murder. This confirmed his presence at the scene and directly implicated him in the crime. According to his confession, he strangled her in her van. This detail provided a crucial piece of the puzzle, explaining how Tolleson was subdued and ultimately killed. He further confessed to having sex with her and then strangling her again. This revealed the depravity of his actions and the extent of his violence against the victim. Mendoza also admitted to poking her throat with a knife to ensure she was dead. This act demonstrated his intent to kill and his determination to eliminate any possibility of her survival. He left her body in a field for 5 days until the police first interviewed him. This delay allowed the body to decompose further, making it more difficult to gather evidence and identify the victim. After the initial interview, he moved the body to a more remote area and burned it. This act of desecration was a desperate attempt to conceal his crime and evade justice. He dragged her to where the body was found. This detail highlighted the physical effort he exerted to move the body and the lengths he went to in order to cover his tracks. To one of the officers who heard his confession, it almost seemed as if he were bragging about the murder. This observation suggested a lack of remorse and a disturbing level of detachment from the gravity of his actions. Following his conviction, Mendoza pursued multiple appeals, seeking to overturn his sentence. These appeals were based on various legal arguments, but ultimately proved unsuccessful. Despite his efforts, courts have consistently upheld the conviction. This reflects the strength of the evidence against him and the thoroughness of the legal process. Mendoza's primary argument in his appeals centered on the claim of insufficient investigation by his trial counsel. He argued that his attorneys failed to adequately investigate his background and present mitigating evidence that could have influenced the jury's decision. He also filed a claim for federal habeas relief, arguing that his constitutional rights had been violated during the trial. However, this claim was also rejected by the courts. Mendoza sought habeas relief in state court as well. This avenue of appeal allowed him to present new evidence or arguments that were not previously considered during the trial. He asserted that he unintentionally strangled Rachelle and desecrated her corpse after experiencing a flashback to rejection at the hands of his former girlfriend. This argument attempted to explain his actions as the result of a psychological trauma. He further asserted that this catathymic homicide, as well as his binge drinking and supposed brain damage, could be traced to the fact that he had never attached well to parents, particularly his father. This argument attempted to link his criminal behavior to his upbringing and psychological state. Mendoza alleged that trial counsel was constitutionally ineffective for failing to discover this attachment disorder. He argued that his attorneys should have investigated his background more thoroughly and presented this evidence to the jury. Mendoza's scheduled execution places his case within the broader context of capital punishment in Texas. The state has a long history of carrying out executions, and Mendoza's case is one of many that have made their way through the legal system. Mendoza is the second death row inmate in North Texas scheduled for execution next year. This highlights the ongoing debate surrounding capital punishment and the legal and ethical considerations it raises. Stephen Lewayne Nelson is also scheduled for execution. The proximity of these two executions underscores the continued use of the death penalty in Texas. Mendoza will have spent 19 years on death row if executed. This lengthy period reflects the extensive legal process involved in capital cases and the numerous appeals that are typically filed. This is longer than the average time on death row in Texas. The extended duration of his incarceration highlights the complexities and delays that can occur in capital punishment cases. The execution of Moises Sandoval Mendoza will undoubtedly reignite the debate surrounding capital punishment. It serves as a stark reminder of the consequences of violent crime and the ongoing quest for justice. If you found this video informative, please like and subscribe to our channel for more in-depth true crime analysis. Share this video with others who are interested in understanding the complexities of the criminal justice system. Leave a comment below with your thoughts on this case and the death penalty. Your engagement helps us to continue providing valuable content.